Welcoming you back to crypto's juiciest news, my friends. Bitcoin still at around that 107,000 American dollars. I'm going to go and show you now the weekly chart that everybody is talking to you about. And right now, everyone is speaking of this little weekly top, this little spinning weekly top. There's a couple of TA people who are very, I guess, concerned that, oh no, it might be over now. The spinning weekly top. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, you know what's going to come down to, friends. Firstly, no one gave a shit that Bitcoin hit $111,000 anyway. Like, we got a feeling like retail isn't here and big things weren't happening anyway. But on top of that too, we're pretty much stuck. We know we're stuck. I mean, like, with Ethereum still at 2,500, it has not even gotten close to that next CME gap, which is about 3,200. And then we still have to go and clear that 3,800 area for us to finally, I guess, push onto the new zone that we've all been waiting for. So friends, there really isn't much to go through now over this weekend because, you know, we're just waiting for the price action to continue. Bitcoin and crypto altogether is 3.34 trillion. What I am ultimately playing for is 10 trillion. I don't know if we're going to get it. I hope we're going to get it. I really believe we're going to get it, but you never really know. I'm looking at all of these confluences that seem to be happening. I'm looking at the stock market being 150 trillion. I'm looking at property being 200 trillion. And I'm going to come and show you some news which it just raises the odds, man, that we should be much higher, that we're going to grow much higher. And from the general sentiment I can see out there, you know, everyone still continues the same old thing. Most people are frustrated. Nothing else is really going on. If I just have a look at PulseChain core coin prices once again, everything is like, you know, still down, a couple of percents down and up here and there. They don't move much. Nothing else moves much. You know, we need Ethereum really to bust that 3,800. And until that moment, there's nothing else we can do. People are still staying extremely complacent with Bitcoin dominance. People are refusing to ever let go of Bitcoin dominance up here. But even if you go down a daily chart, you can really see how dangerous it is. So, you know, friends, in charts, right, what you'll find is if charts, let's say they go from up the top here, if the chart just literally just goes near, like straight line, literally straight line down, what ends up happening is because it's too fast, the market will just come back and make its way to the top before it ends up rolling over, or it could continue higher. It usually does that. Okay, so if you actually remember, that's what we did in the China ban back in 2021. That's what the charts did, even for Ethereum. So remember, we went down to Ethereum, hits 1,800, screws around, and then finally actually makes its way to the top before finishing off. That's if we're going straight down. However, in markets, if they drop, this is what you'll always see this. I don't know why it's like this, okay? But it always is like this. When they drop, right, everyone thinks, oh, it's getting started. It comes back to the 61% retrace every single time. Right here. Like, it comes back right here. And this is where it battles and it's finally game over. So you just remember that in markets. I don't know why that happens. I've just seen so many charts. Because I've always wondered, oh no, what if you're just caught by surprise? If you're caught by surprise and you're not on leverage, it's okay for markets. Now, I know we're looking at a Bitcoin dominance chart, but that's something to think about, right? It usually comes back, okay? But it hasn't done that with Bitcoin dominance. That's why you could be looking at right now, this is like the generational top of Bitcoin dominance right here. Which is funny to even think about that because you're like, wait, but everybody's doing all this leverage on Bitcoin. How can it be? Man, last year they didn't know what Bitcoin was. Now they want to put leverage on it. Okay, what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen as they learn about, you know, Ethereum staking yield, tokenization, stablecoins? What are they going to do with that? What's going to happen when Ethereum provides a solution for pseudo privacy, where you and I can't see each other's transactions on the chain, but the government can request a key from someone to basically reveal all their transactions? That's the future that they're going to build. You can't do that on a Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got nothing. Bitcoin, they won't even enable smart contracts, friends. They literally won't do anything on it. So what are they going to do then? Do you think the government's going to come and like be saying, oh yes, come super transparent Bitcoin, we love you? I don't think so, man. So this is the future you gotta think about. And by the way, we knew this, right? We know this, but that's why like we stay convicted, because we're not trying to price something in for today. We're trying to price it in for tomorrow. Now I'm gonna crack on with some news, friends. So USDC, the cuck currency, its usage on Ethereum has reached an all-time high. Check out this chart. The usage on Ethereum is actually cranking up big. So this is actually wonderful news to see. Stablecoins, remember friends, stablecoin super cycle. We have our own. I have my own, not financial advice, stablecoin super cycle I'd like to participate in. It's pDAI. It's pDAI here. And just as a reminder for yourself and me, I have like just extremely important news for you that you should pay attention to, okay? I'm going to have to make a whole episode on this post, but you got to know this, okay? Look, I can tell you exactly why Richard Hart will never publicly admit or show a provable connection to PulseChain pDAI. Okay? And we've already known this, right? Because, you know, Nikolai's dead. They try to take him out and stuff. But even more to that. The reason is the government has gone after every single person involved in a stablecoin. Every single one, publicly. They went after Binance CZ, my friend. They've gone after this dude from Polygon. Tether, friends, also. Tether, they didn't go after Tether because Tether owned a lot of US treasuries. They go, okay, we can't disband you. Like, we could do it, but you're going to have to let our fancy banana investigators and the Coconut Intelligence Agency to go in. And the Secret Service. So they're in, right? So basically, every single company, institution, stablecoin is compromised. They have government compromisation on there, all right? So now that you know this, and by the way, when I mean every single one, I do mean every single one. In fact, there was one guy who didn't want to comply with them. My friend Binance CZ. What did they do? Put him in jail, okay? And worse, they shut down the Binance US dollar. They shut it down. Literally, they got the SEC hench dogs. There's scum, Gary Gensler, evil scum. You know, but Gary's evil, but he's just like a little dog. He's a little, not even a nice, cute dog. He's just like he's just a little piece of shit. Okay, but he's not the real big piece of poop. The real big piece of poop, US Fed. All right, it all came from the US Fed. Total control. Okay, so that's why Crypto Friends was made to remove the middlemen. Okay, so then there's no one to go after. It's not like you're doing it just because. It's like, no, there actually is no one to go after here. So keep that in mind when you see stablecoins and usage and stuff out here. Now, some of you have also asked, while I actually crank it up a bit, some of you have asked, but Sami, what if they only have a, specific set of stable coins that you can use and everything else is illegal? Well, my friends, thank God for PulseX. Thank God for Uniswap. Because we are the oracle. We are the oracle. You see that thing that trades on that liquidity pair? Yeah, it's at $1. See, we don't have to call it a stable coin. Is pDAI a stable coin? Or we have no other word for it. What do we call it? It's like when Bitcoin came out, friends. We didn't know what to call it. You call it a stock. People were calling it a stock. They go, oh, it's an internet stock. It's a stock price of the internet. But is pDAI a stable coin? It's something else. You can literally call it anything. So you can just make your own sector. They go, oh, stable coins have to be regulated. And go, okay, we're not a stable coin, bro. We're a meme. We're a meme coin. Yeah, we're a meme coin. But we stay trading at $1. Wouldn't that be funny? And by the way, don't think Richard hasn't thought about stuff like that. Okay. Now, I don't speak to him directly, but I'm telling you. All right. This is the game we're playing. And we've got to understand this because that's your enormous upside. All right. So I'm going to be making a full video on this stuff later, but because I'm so excited about it, because I've always like, I want to know, is he going to come out and say it? No. So, but here's the best part, right? I might be his voice that people listen to as the price goes up. Whee! That'll be funny. And trust me, and I really do mean this, okay? When the price goes up, it's not even going to matter at that point. Now, in other news as well, Qatar, friends, my friends is Qatar? My friends over there in Qatar, they have a financial center and they are planning to tokenize real estate, starting with a $500 million plus worth tower. Also exploring tokenized funds and digital asset rules. Now, why is this important? Well, tokenization of real estate, friends, it's like they've been doing this for ages. No one cares. We don't even know what they do. Okay, it's tokenized. What do you do now? Like, we don't know. I guess they're just trying to put the whole financial hub out there into crypto. And when you tokenize something, it's like, I guess they can mint you one NFT and the NFT is worth, like $500 million or whatever, or $100 million or $10 million. But then you can't trade it. You know what I mean? They can't go and put it into a pool. But what they might be able to do, now that I think about it, is do DeFi on it. Right. That's interesting. Because now, let's say you had property and you tokenize your property, put 10 million on it. Now you have a $10 million token on the internet. Maybe there'd be like a KYC approved thing, but you could give him your token and now you could do DeFi on it. You could actually borrow on it and then play around. That's the future of finance. Now, it's you probably shouldn't do this because we all know how this is going to end, friends. It's going to end with some wild liquidations. We're like, oh crap, this Qatar financial center, they were degens the whole time. They've got to get liquidated for $250 million, and then you end up, someone end up tracking their wallet and they're like, oh no, they went and put it into this other, BitConnect to earn some yield. Like that. That'd be funny one day, man. I hope the rules don't allow for that, but. Yeah, because you know that's coming. Where someone who's like, oh sweet, let's just go earn 48% APY on this new bit connecting. But that'd be hilarious to have to liquidate this big fund. But I don't think we're going to get to that point because they're going to put all these rules. But it's going to add to the crypto market cap size, so that it makes all of them basically pretty much want to follow each other and come in. Now, SUI friends, Pooey, they're Cletus. So Cletus. Stop banging your sister over there, Cletus. Cletus was the protocol basically that had the Pooey controversy, right? They lost 220 million, and then it's kind of funny, just like a random protocol had a phone number. They're like, hey, time to pause the whole chain, beep, and they did. It's just wild, friends. They paused the whole chain. They just ignored all their transactions. So that's actually worse than even say Solana. With Solana, they literally just pause. But with these, they got the addresses and all their validators, they ignored all those addresses when they were processing transactions. It's like you're just permanently barred. It's wild, man. So it really makes you think, why even in crypto? If you can just pause transactions, why are you in there, bro? Why'd you even come here? We got fast transactions. No, you don't, bro. Amazon and Apple crush you. You don't have fast transactions, bro. You're actually very slow compared to them. You say, oh, we're fast compared to Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum, bro, doesn't have a stop button. All right? It does not have a pause button. You do. It's not the same thing. Makes you think, man. So, you really want to know, friends, what's really going on? Crypto's growth rate is very big. Yeah, we're growing huge, man. Bitcoin's 4-year growth rate is 67% per year on average. The whole industry is freaking growing, right? We're going 3 trillion. Hopefully, we're going to be 100 trillion. So, the growth rate is big. So, what they're doing is beating everyone. People aren't even really into crypto. They see a growing network and city. They just want to come be here to grab the overflow of money. That's what it is. Okay, they don't actually care about crypto. Friends, it's kind of like, when there's World Cup. When there's World Cup, there are there are ladies of the night who travel across the seas and across cities to go to the city where the World Cup is. And there's basically all these ladies of the night who offer their services. And you read about it every single time there's a World Cup. There's always an article in the newspaper or like on one of those online newspapers. Yeah, that talk about it. Like, oh, ladies of the night have seen a boost of like 280% clients coming in. And it's actually true. It's actually true. Like, you know, ladies of the night, do you really care about soccer? No. Like, you like balls. You like them in your mouth. You don't really like kicking them around. But they're just there to hang around for the increase of the GDP and stuff out here from the city. So it's the same thing. Moving on as well, friends. USDT, T for trash, usage on Tron has reached an all-time high. 77 billion in supply, 611 billion monthly volume, 66 million in transfers. So we have the chart up here, stablecoin super cycle. So Tron, friends, Tron's big. So Tron, friends, you know how we call Richard Hart a visionary? Yes. Justin Sun, he made Tron even before Richard Hart thought about stablecoin supercycle. His whole plan from the start was to get stablecoins onto Tron. That's been his whole lifelong dream. He was always thinking about stablecoins, right? So I would consider both of them visionaries, right? It's true. Yeah, it's Justin Sun. The thing though with Justin is you can't really profit from a lot of his stuff because he's got a lot of these Chinese insider stuff out here, and he didn't adapt as fast, I guess, to the DeFi thing, and it's not EVM, but I guess it's pretty good, right, if you check his chart out. So this is the TRX USD chart. It's actually wild, right? That's actually done this nice move, but you really want to see the real chart, friends, to look at is obviously, let's look at Tron versus Ethereum. That's what you want to look at, right? So this is actually, wow, it's actually come back, friends. Oh my gosh. Wow, because Ethereum, look how bad Ethereum is. Ethereum just kept tanking. So well done. There you go, Justin. There you go, friends. Believed in it the whole time. 1,600x. Yes, it's come back now to April 2018. That is freaking wild. I hope this thing eventually does go up, because that'll be like full faith restored in like just altcoins. If you just hang around and if you believe, you eventually make it, right? Then you probably want to know, Simon, can you please show us a Tron Bitcoin chart? Let's see what that is. That's still got a while to go. All right. However, and how long would I have it to go up? There you go, another 3x. But alt season's not even here yet, right? So it's very possible for this to happen. So that'll be a very, very, very long base. And for it to come up, that'll be beautiful. That's what you want, because it gives you a long time to DCA and it kind of like do the whole rescue package on you. So that does give me, you know, I'm smiling inside to see that Justin's being able to do it. And how's he able to do it, friends? Well, it's because of stablecoins. Yeah, he's getting adoption on the chain. So a lot of people in Asia, they use Tron because a lot of Asians, right? They want to own the US dollar. They want to send money and they need a US dollar accepted bank account and they can send it anywhere. China, Southeast Asia, and it's fast. And everyone has a digital wallet. So everyone's actually using it. That's why everyone uses it there. The thing is, though, they don't have a lot of the application stuff, but that's why, like, we're in crypto for cool stuff because stablecoins are boring, but that's why, man, like, you want to bet. That's why, like, okay, oh, well, if you want to bet on stablecoin super cycle, okay, maybe Tron gives you a 3x versus Bitcoin. That's good. That's good. But for me, right, not financial advice, if pDAI, man, it doesn't even have to get to $1, bro. pDAI at 10 cents is 33 times your money. If it gets to $1, oh my gosh, 330x. There's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it if you're betting on stablecoin supercycle. So that'd be wild. As well, cracking on with the news. We have a latest River report, growing Bitcoin support amongst US policymakers. Check this out, friends. 59% of the Senate and 66% of the House. So Bitcoin's really taken over, man. You know, Bitcoin and crypto, friends, the popularity will rise even more if they ban Congress from owning stocks, right? So if you can't own stocks, you're going to go own crypto. But this is the funny part. What happens when you can tokenize the stocks, bro? What happens then? What happens when you can put like Tesla, Amazon, what if you can own their share What happens then? Then they got to ban them from owning crypto? Okay, but here's a problem, bro. Anybody in the world can generate a seed phrase. How do you stop them from knowing numbers in their head? Mate, you know, it's problems of the future. That's the power of crypto. Shout out to everyone out there in the Nordic countries. Nordic countries are considering their cashless push. So they want to remove all cash and currency. And friends, Vitalik actually responded. He said decentralized tech like Ethereum could be the fix. So it's probably what's going to happen over the future. More societies are going cashless. Everything's going digital. It's easy for them to debase, by the way, with that. Because you no longer have to be like, oh, it used to be 1 note. Now it's 4 notes. You know what I mean? Now they can just change the numbers on digitally to manipulate everyone. $680 billion BNB Paribas Asset Management launches tokenized money market fund shares to test cross-border transactions. So once again, the tokenization of everything is coming out. That's why the sad part is we can't benefit on the tokenization directly. Just think of it like it's all adding to the market cap of crypto, and it's just going to enhance the whole industry. And hopefully we do get towards that $10 trillion size, and hopefully like 100 trillion later on. But we'll take it bit by bit. Saylor has hinted at buying more Bitcoin. So as you know, friends, he's got like a hint, right? Whenever he posts this chart, literally this chart with orange dots, he's like, need more orange. Whenever he posts that, he's about to make a purchase. Like they've already accepted a purchase. And he also has got a quote here. I only buy Bitcoin with money I can't afford to lose. So you know why he's saying that, right? It's because like everyone's like, bro, you've literally lost your marbles. But I still think he's safe. After all these, I still think he's safe. Because why? His average price up here, it's in this light gray faint line, 69,750. But when you start to see 100K, it's going to be the big one. Now, you're probably wondering, how's it even going to get to 100K? His purchases now only like 1 billion, 2 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion. When FOMO comes in, my friends, when FOMO comes in, they will be handing it over so hard. But look, there is a chance that Microstrategy, it doesn't get as much money as you think because there's just so many options now. You got to think about who's actually buying Microstrategy, man. Like Microstrategy, friends, it's trading at a premium on the book because of the Bitcoin on there. But like, I want to show you, this is extremely important right here. Thank God I've got it. Thank you to BingX. It was very hard to find this. Okay, so this chart of the GBTC discount, friends. Let's see if we can find all of it. Okay. You see this down here? So Grayscale, friends, I always call it Grayscale. So it was very hard for people to buy Bitcoin. Like no one knew, it's not even on Google searches, right? They're like, what do I buy? Do they accept bank accounts? I have no idea how it works. They have no idea, okay? But what ended up happening was the GBTC, this is the premium. So this line here is 0. When it's above 0, so people were literally just buying it just to get exposure to Bitcoin because they did not know else how to buy Bitcoin, but they knew how to buy this on the ETF thing, right? So they were buying it. However, as soon as the bull market started, here's 2021, the premium started dropping all the way down. So pretty much the price of the GBTC was worth less than the actual Bitcoin in their treasury. And that's when the discount, remember friends, the discount went to like 40%, 50%. Remember, it was like huge. Like at the bottom of 2022, it was like, basically everyone got ravaged. But it was like shocking. Why? Because the premium just disappeared as the bull market started. That was what the weird thing was. Like you would have thought if something was trading at a premium here, friends, of like 20%. So pretty much, that's how stupid it was. When Bitcoin was 10 grand, people were paying 12,000 for it. When Bitcoin was 15,000, they were paying 20,000 for it. That's how ridiculous it was, because they didn't know any better, right? And also, they thought it was going to do the same move as 2017, where it did a 20x. That's why we all thought Bitcoin was going to go to like 300K anyway. That's why they didn't mind paying 20,000 or 25,000 effective price for it, right? That's why it was like such a big letdown. But then, look what shocked everyone. It just started becoming discount zones straight away. This is 2021, 1 or 2 months, like literally started downtrending. So that was like, whoa. So that's why I'm worried, will MicroStrategy happen like that? Where it just completely shocks you, right? Where like MicroStrategy's premium, I forgot how much the MicroStrategy share market cap is worth on top of the Bitcoin on their book. Maybe it's like 2. Maybe like, you know, maybe like maybe it's like worth 160 billion and like the Bitcoin's worth 80 billion or whatever it is, you know. But if that goes, man, if that goes back to like break even and then it goes negative, you're like, uh-oh. Okay. Because what happens? Why is that important? Well, how does the gap close? They have to sell the Bitcoin to cover the gap, right? But then everyone says, oh, no, they'll never sell the Bitcoin. Michael Chad Saylor said he's going to die with it. We'll see, man. When you have a class action lawsuit and 100,000 people who want to kill you and people trying to take you to jail and people who have lost a lot of money and people who did leverage it. So that's another thing, friends. With MicroStrategy, people did put leverage on there. People who have leveraged their homes, they are in it. So if it goes down at a discount, they'll be coming out with the pitchforks. So this is just the reality of everything, right? So friends, that's all the news that pretty much is happening over this weekend. Where are we going to go from here? Well, you know exactly what's going to happen, man. We need this business cycle to go up. The most fantastic news is the flash PMI came out at 52.3. This is the most important critical news, friends. Flash PMI came out 52.3, showing you that things are on the up. Doesn't mean like everything just straight away goes up. It just means that the business cycle is like actually turning. We might have a cracker finisher for the year, but I guess we'll take it month by month. Like, subscribe, Betty Button, all. Catch you soon.